Hello, everybody. It's me, BMR, otherwise known as Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. I got a great encounter story for you from a subscriber that emailed this in to me, gave me permission to go ahead and tell it to you guys. Don't forget this Thursday at 12 noon Central, brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, and Tex. We have Barry Littleton on. We'll be talking about Bigfoot and the supernatural. Going to be a great show. Great show. Barry's well respected out there. Let's get into it, shall we? This is a husband and wife team. This is Kent County, Michigan in 2019. Husband and wife team. We're going to call the wife Becky. The story revolves around Becky. Again, they're a truck driving team. 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. In other words, the husband would work 2 straight weeks away from home. Becky would work the same away from home. However, though, on Becky's 2 weeks that she has at the house, and they live on about a 2.5 acre property in the woods, every time Becky would be left at home, she would say weird things would happen around her house. She would hear footfall. Didn't know if it was people. She would be scared every night. She would hear strange sounds and howls from the woods. Becky would also hear like trees falling down in the middle of the night. It's not a lumber area. It's not a timber area. It's not a logging area, but these trees would fall, perfectly good trees. In fact, found some trees laying on the ground. Just thought it was always weird, and it was always when the husband was gone. She also claims to have had heard footfall, or footsteps, I should say, on her roof of her house. Well, one night she calls the state police because she does indeed hear footsteps on top of the roof of her house. State police come out, assure Becky that it was nothing, probably some animals, her imagination. Pretty much told Becky to go back to bed. So, as it happens, the next morning, a state trooper pulls up to Becky's house about 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. Trooper introduces himself. Said, listen, ma'am, I heard last night that you called in a report and about somebody walking on your house or what have you. And then he also said in the report you had made claims about strange sounds coming from the woods, people perhaps walking around, heavy steps. Becky Swell said yes. She goes, last night I swear there was somebody on top of the roof. And she goes, I hear these weird, strange noises, a howl that I can't make out. She goes, I'm familiar with the environment, the woods that she lives in. She's been there for 10 years, knows every creature out there. And so the trooper goes out a little bit, starts looking around the house, doesn't really find anything. But again, Becky went on, pretty much said the common things we hear that she was telling the trooper about snapping of large twigs or large branches, right? And the footsteps. The trooper says, ma'am, I'm kind of intrigued by this. She goes, I got to tell you something. I think you might be onto something here. He goes, and then the trooper tells Becky, I hope you don't think I'm crazy or a little out there. But he goes, I do a little bit of Bigfoot research. He goes, I'm a cryptid. I like doing these things. I've investigated all parts of Michigan and Wisconsin. And he goes, if you don't mind, if you'd be at ease, would you mind if I camp out tonight on your property? Well, Becky was for sure, is a trooper. I think as she makes mention in the email, a little bit, yeah, should I trust this guy or not? But she said, to heck with it. I'll feel more comfortable with somebody out at the house. So the trooper comes. He comes to the house, and that night, and well, before nightfall, he comes fully prepared. He's got night vision. He's got FLIR. In fact, he brings a tent, and he sets up his camp about 50 yards from Becky's house. So he also brought a set of two-way radios, and told Becky, look, we'll have an open line of communication. I'm going to be away from the house, but I'm going to make a bunch of sounds. I'm going to take this bat. He shows her a bat to get out of the trunk of his trooper car. He pulls up. And I'm going to hit trees. I'm going to make sounds. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you know. I'm going to let you know when I'm about to do something. So, it's dusky dawn or whatever, and the camper tells Becky he has his gear set up, and told Becky he's going to make a series of wood knocks. to let her know. And Becky's like, do what you got to do. So this goes on. So the trooper, let's call him Trooper Tom, he makes some wood knocks in the woods, periodically off and on, maybe every 20 minutes perhaps. And there was really nothing going on. And then he decides to do another wood knock. Now, when he does this wood knock, the entire forest went silent after maybe the 10th wood knock. You know, the bugs, the insects around, they quit. You know, the rustling about of squirrels, chipmunks around, that all stopped. It was dead silence. And after about 40 seconds or so later, he hears a wood knock come back, and he hears it. Gets on the communication with Becky, and Becky says, well, did you make that wood knock sound? He goes, yeah, I did the first one. That the second one you heard, if you heard it at all, and she says she did, that was from something else. Then he asks, is that what you've been hearing? And she said, yes, it was. So he's like, okay, well, again, he goes, well, I'm going to continue on with my investigation. He tells Becky he's going to make a howl sound. Okay, a whoop, whatever. So he makes a call out into the forest. Again, much like the wood knocks, nothing was returned back. Nothing was returned back. He does this several times. And I think, according to this here, it says it was getting after about midnight, 1 in the morning. Becky on the two-way radio says, hey, Trooper Tom, I'm going to turn in. Trooper Tom is like, okay, that's fine, Becky. I'm going to try to pull an all-nighter. I mean, I've got one night here, and I'm going to make the most of it. I'm going to try to stay up. He kind of assured Becky that, hey, at least tonight you're not going to, at least I'm out here. But he tells Becky that, hey, I'm going to make one sound, one more whoop or whatever he was doing. Whatever sound he was making into the woods, he told Becky, I'm going to do it one more time. Just to let you know, it's me. Becky says, fine. Tom lets out a howl into the woods. And again, much like the one wood knock, the forest, the woods grew silent. And then a howl, a scream, a roar comes back. But the funny thing about this roar is Becky gets on the two-way radio and says, hey, how did you get to the back of my house so fast to make that roar? Because the roar that came back was directly in back of her house. He says, Becky, I'm nowhere near the house. I'm 50 yards away by the campsite. So now he says, hang on, I'm going to start making a beeline toward the house. So the trooper's headed toward the house, and Becky, almost 20 seconds after, he's like halfway there, and Becky says, hey, there's something on the roof. I can hear footsteps on the roof. John's all frantic. John is like, oh, my Lord, or Trooper John, and he drops what he's doing. He's looking on the roof. He's maybe now halfway there, 25 yards, can't see nothing because it's dark. But then he remembers he has his gear and he has FLIR. He has a FLIR on him. Pulls it out. He scans the top of the roof. He doesn't see anything. Then he pans a couple feet toward the edge of the roof of the house where he sees this thermal image. It was red. It was red, a thermal image. And he sees this shape on the house. But then he sees it jump off the roof, and he follows it down. He sees it hit the ground, and then it appeared to get, and when it hits the ground, it looked like it was a human with two legs that hit the ground, and then it dropped to all fours. Like it fell forward, right, like I guess a cat, and took off and disappeared. Lost track. It was like that fast. He was spotty it. Boom. So he gets back. He's talking with Becky what he's seen. You know how he seen this image on top of the roof jump. It looked like at 2 feet. Jump, saw it land, drop down, and take off. Of course, Becky's I don't know if she's in shock, but she's scared, and the trooper himself, his adrenaline's going, and he starts looking around the perimeter of the house now for prints. Now, mind you, it's nighttime. He had lights out there. He saw two prints, two bipedal prints that were about 10 feet from where he's seen this creature jump off the roof. And when it landed into the ground, it got quite deep. It left a deep impression, okay? But the strange thing is, that's the only prints he's seen. He also seen it drop to all fours and take off. So he says, hey, Becky, I'm going to spend the night out in the tent tonight. I'm going to come back at daybreak and kind of scour around the house, so there should be more footprints. So Becky agrees. Yeah, whatever, do what you got to do. And the next morning, he gets up looking for tracks or for prints. Again, the two prints are there about 10 feet from the roof where this being jumped off and hit the ground. But there was no other prints. And the tree line was from the house, from the prints. Let's see, this says here. It was the tree line from the prints was probably about 30 feet away from the house. So you're talking about 40 feet, the tree line to the house. But there was nothing in that direction. No prints, no nothing. That's where the email ends. I've emailed this person back. Haven't got any response back that I'd like to hear, because that was in 2019 of the encounter. And the email ends there, and they don't say anything about what's been going on the last 3 years, which I would really like to follow up on, because I'd like to know if these things are still happening. So I hope you liked that. I thought it was pretty cool. Hey, let me know what you think about it. And this Thursday, again, brunch with Bigfoot, noon Central. Subscribe to Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Me and Tex Barry Littleton. Should be a great show. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the support. Share this stuff out, and you have a great day. BMR's out. Thank you.